from, Moose?
I am coming for you, Moose. Dehan. I'm ready to come home.
Okay. Go, 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 go!
The back door is up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the back door is open. Welcome to Cordkillers, our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you, my friends, will be armed with the information to snipe off the shows you want to watch when you want to watch them on whatever device you want to watch them on. I'm Tom Merritt.
Oh, killing those, capturing those shows just like that Canadian sniper was shooting that moose. That's what you want to do.
Moose scene in there.
Dude, there was some moose on woman action. I'm not going to lie. And I feel bad because it was very clear here in studio that I shouted go way too early. What was it that I missed? What was your intended out scene, Bryce?
She goes, he says, I'm ready to come home. And she goes, the back door's unlocked for you.
Oh, yeah. In typical Canadian fashion.
Well, the back door is unlocked for you. Come on. So, yeah, we are the show that tries to help you figure out how to watch the TV shows and the movies that you want. Now, as will become evident later in the show, should you stick with us towards the end, it doesn't mean you can't use cable. In fact, the offerings from the cable companies are starting to come around a little bit, Brian. Just a little bit.
Man, a lot of people are branding me as some kind of cable hater. I ain't got no cable hating hat. I ain't walking around with pitchforks saying, let's kill cable. In fact, look, some of my best shows that I currently have on the air are on cable. So it's like, don't accuse me of being a cable hater.
That hat is a hat of opportunity for all shows to be watched, as long as you, the viewer, are in control of what you watch and when you watch it. Let's start off with our primary target, though.
Yeah.
So Amazon's been doing this thing since 2013, so for a long time, of putting out pilots for people to watch and then collecting their feedback and then deciding what to greenlight, in part based on the feedback that they get from folks. They have greenlit. Is it greenlit or greenlighted?
I believe it's green-lighted.
Okay, they have green-lighted 5 out of the 13 pilots that they put up online earlier this year, and they will come either later this year or in 2016. The 5 pilots are, as we all hoped, The Stinky and Dirty Show, based on the Stink series by Jane and Jim McMullen, Just Add Magic, based on the book by Cindy Callahan, The New Yorker Presents, and Romany Malco in Mad Dogs. Those are all green-lighted, Brian. Am I missing anything? Was there anything else that people were interested in?
I don't know. I don't remember you talking about my unbridled enthusiasm for the fact that clearly everybody at Amazon watches Cordkillers and exactly make sure to pick all of our favorite shows to be renewed.
Man in the High Castle, of course, got green-lighted, and it is the most watched so far. They're making it be like the most watched Amazon pilot of all time in our nearly 2 years of putting pilots out. But still, that's good.
Yes. Well, first of all, man, it was really weird. We spoke very positively about the show, and I went back maybe because of this story today and saw some previous reviews. It was really weird for me to encounter anyone who didn't like it the way that we liked it.
Talking about Man in the High Castle particularly?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
In particular.
Yeah, The Verge, I remember reading the Verge article, which had some criticisms, but I didn't think it was panning it. And then the Verge article about the Amazon greenlighting today is like, which obviously had some deep flaws. I'm like,
yes!
Really? Okay.
That's exactly what I read. And when I read that, I was just like, are you guys crazy? Are you high? This was amazing.
I mean, there were a few flaws. I saw a few flaws in it, but I was expecting a lot worse, I guess. And I just get Pollyanna about these things sometimes. Because I'm such a big fan of the book, I was really worried. And even though they changed things in the book, and I get the criticisms that The Verge was writing about there, I don't think they're invalid. It didn't ruin it for me, and I believe a full season can address a lot of those concerns, and I can't wait to watch it.
It was double weird for me to watch that and to want to wax excitement about it, and instead talked to Andrew Bain, who is a very, very savvy individual. He's the kind of person who will watch, literally, he watched the trailer for Super 8 and was able to, minor spoiler alert, like he watched the trailer, not even, the trailer doesn't say what the subject is or what the plot of the movie is, but he, analytically watched the trailer and then called the director of cinematography and said, so it's in the water tower, right? And he's like, what? He's like, well, it's clear from your shots that that's what this is all about. So anyway, Andrew Bain is cut from a different cloth than me, but
he is smarter than both of us and everyone in the chat room right now.
Yes, correct. Accurate. But at any rate, he was kind of tepid on Man in the High Castle and complained about budgetary issues where he felt like stuff looked cheap. Like, I did not see any of those moments. I was utterly swept in. I believed everything. To me, I saw where the money was spent, not where the money wasn't spent. It was spent in amazing Art Deco designs and projecting forward a alternate reality in a very boring, pedestrian way. And I utterly loved it for all of those things.
Well, and that's the thing, right? There were a couple of CG shots that I cringed at, believe me. And I'm sure he saw even more than I saw, but I didn't care. It was the kind of, and maybe that's the difference. Like, if you're being very critical, you're not going to let that stuff pass. But as much as I feared it being bad, because I love the book so much, part of me was cheering for it to be good. And so if I was like, okay, I got some bad CG, as long as it didn't persist through the entire thing, and you're right, they had some amazing Art Deco sets, they had some amazing shots in there that, to me, balanced it out.
Absolutely, 100%. Let's talk about Mad Dogs. Dude, that was, okay, I feel like Man in the High Castle certainly felt like a pilot. It felt like the beginning of a story. However, it also, if it was extracted out by itself, could have looked like an interesting vignette at the beginning of a story that went somewhere. Mad Dogs, not so much. Mad Dogs put it on the table. They're like, yes, if you don't pick this up, this one episode, this 1 hour is going to look like horse crap because we are clearly telling the first chapter of a story, and by itself, this one chapter means absolutely nothing.
Well, if nothing else, the opening shot of Mad Dogs
yes!
lays it all out there like, you're not going to find out what this shot means this episode. Yes! I kept expecting for them to cut back to that, and then the episode ended, and I'm like, oh, I guess we're not getting back to that till later in the season. Gosh, I hope there's a season.
It's very clearly like one of the last shots of the entire season, and they just put it out there, man. They're like, look, we're gonna start this journey as if we have the beginning or the ending in mind, and that was the end of it. And I totally appreciated it. And to be honest, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, like, have they ever approved 3 pilots at a time like they've done before? There was no expectation.
I think the last round they did.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to think. There was Mozart in the Jungle, Bosch, and there's another one. Oh, Transparent, right.
Yeah.
Obviously. They were all of the same class.
So, but they certainly did not portray it as, here's our, freshmen, choose 3 and we will, escalate them. They said, hey, here's a batch of stuff. Tell us what you like. So it's like there was no guarantee. They could have just as easily, approved 1 or 2 or 5.
They never set a number that they're going to go after. They just kind of just make it up as they go along. It's a combination play. Netflix greenlight shows based on the fact that they think a segment of their audience that already subscribes will like it, and they see it as a retention factor, as much as an attraction to get people who might like it who aren't out there. Amazon says, well, we're gonna try to get a little more focus group action here, but it's the same calculus in the end. It's not like they just look at the ones with the top votes and pick the top 3. They decide, like, okay, using the information we got from the people who watch the pilots and looking at the data we know about the people who are using our service, we think these are the best bets.
Well, and understand that the way Amazon's playing the game is not the way that NBC or CBS plays the game. They are playing
Amazon or at Netflix, either one,
full-on numbers game, right? ABC, CBS, all of the traditional big ones, like we need these numbers so that we could sell against these credentials and make this revenue per Nielsen. Whereas Amazon certainly understands the value of a committed hardcore fan base. Like they would snap up, let's say a reboot of the Battlestar Galactica in a heartbeat, or some kind of like, if Firefly were to come back or whatever, they would snatch that in a heartbeat, even though it doesn't have the numbers for broadcast television.
Here's the thing I want to know. So I'm excited about Mad Dogs now. And here's one of the issues with Amazon. I saw somebody today say, now that they've greenlighted Man in the High Castle, I'm not going to watch it because I want to wait and watch the entire season at once. And that is, especially with Mad Dogs, right? A kind of sucky thing of like, okay, I watched one episode and now I got to wait, even if I'm going to get them all at once then. So part of me is like, oh, okay, I'll go watch the British version. Right?
Oh, shoot. But that's nothing but spoilers. Like, I regret watching as much of the original House of Cards as I did because it made in the second season, there's a big spoiler right in the first episode.
Well, you know me, Brian.
Yes.
I laugh in their face. I spit on their shoes.
You punch them in the nose.
Yeah. But I can't even spoil myself.
Why not?
It's not available.
Wait, you can't get Mad Dogs?
No. Like, seriously, Amazon, and maybe this will happen, but you're about to greenlight Mad Dogs. Wouldn't it make sense to acquire Mad Dogs for Amazon Prime?
That's crazy. Why is this not
a thing?
Netflix
did that, right? Netflix had the British House of Cards. Like, hey, while you're waiting for our reboot, you could always watch the British one if you want.
Wow. I feel bad now.
I know, because I was going to even suggest, although it sounds like maybe you would not have been amenable to it, that we watch the British version.
No. I want to save it. Yeah. No, I want nothing but surprise. And as a matter of fact, like
we can't do it anyway without stealing it. So better that we don't. A couple of footnotes to this story. Woody Allen produced show still on the slate as part of these pilots, although it never got piloted, but they mentioned it in the press release about this. And they made a point of mentioning that both Alpha House and Transparent are returning for their next seasons. I think it's the third season for Alpha House and the second for Transparent.
Although it's not entirely a surprise with Alpha House, because I believe like Penn Jillette was talking on his podcast about how he flew out to record scenes for Alpha House.
No, I think it was already previously announced that it would get renewed. It was interesting to see them in the press release say, these are our shows, and don't forget our Golden Globe winning Transparent and critically acclaimed, because we didn't win any awards with it, Alpha House.
Does that mean I get to say that that hacking the system is critically acclaimed when we don't get it?
I am a critic.
Yep.
I criticize all kinds of things.
Yep.
And I am acclaiming hacking the system right now.
Dude, yeah, I'll tell you what, there's only one thing that would be better than hosting the critically acclaimed show, Hacking the System on National Geographic. And that would be, is if we could take a moment to pause and celebrate our 2,001 patrons who have made our show loud, live, and independent as hell. Dude, thank you so much to everyone who went to patreon.com/Cordkillers and is throwing a few nickels our way.
Yeah, you guys make it possible for us to like not even break a sweat doing this show. Like we don't worry about like, oh, I really should be out at the coffee shop getting a job, making minimum. No, you pay our bills. You make this show. Like, we don't even have to think about that side of things. We just do the best show we want because you're the boss.
Let's not lie. You guys provide enough money where it's like, I have no excuse. And when I try to watch The Walking Dead and it's not up on Amazon for some reason, I just go and buy it a second time over on iTunes because I have to watch The Walking Dead so I can talk about it on Cordkillers tonight. Yeah, and that's all because of you guys.
Exactly. Like, I was doing my taxes this morning. I was talking to the tax guy because my taxes are a mess. And I was able to say like, when I purchase those movies and stuff, that's for my job. He's like, what? That's for your job? I'm like, well, I do a show. We talk about television and movies. We subscribe to services. Like, oh yeah, that's legit. That's part of your job.
Thank you for allowing us to freaking, deduct that off our taxes.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, man, it's all about value for value. If you get value out of Cordkillers and you can afford to give a little value back to the show, we appreciate you doing so. And there's 2,001 of you right now who are doing it. You're the boss. You're the best.
You're the boss. You're the best. Put that on your tombstone. I'm the boss. I'm the best. Also,
Let's
I'm
get
dead.
some signals intelligence going.
Fair enough.
So Google launched a new app for kids called YouTube Kids on Android and iOS. It's actually even coming soon to kids tablets Curio and Nabi. It's got a simpler interface, bigger tiles, brighter colors, but the big deal is that it's curated to select videos that are appropriate for the whole family, and it's got parental controls. So you've got 4 categories: shows, music, learning, and explore. You can do searches for particular things. You can even do voice search. And then on the parental controls side, you can set a timer. You can manipulate the sounds, so maybe not all the sound effects are always going off. You can even turn off search if you're like, nah, I just want them to go down the chute. I don't want them to be searching around. There's even a feedback section. Brian, you were playing with it today with your kids, right?
I did. There are good things and bad. One of the good things was that when I installed it on my phone, I absolutely adored how easy it was to separate stuff. Like, you could tell that it was clearly written for the text on there would say things like, "Hi adults, if you're a parent, then why don't you check out the settings?" Like, kind of a little hint, like, "Why don't you join us over in the adults room?" And you click on settings, and then in text it would spell out the numbers. He'd be like, just to make sure you're an adult, why don't you type in the numbers 15733 in this keypad? And then you're like, yeah, boop, 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 boop. And then it's like, okay, look, you're an adult. Why don't you set the rules? Do you want to set a timer on this? Do you want to set, permissions, et cetera, et cetera? Here's the funny part. And I don't know how to feel about this. Obviously, YouTube is in a very tricky position. And obviously, Tom Merritt's in a tricky position because his wife works at YouTube. But they're in a position where an awful lot of stuff gets put on YouTube and lives, thrives, and survives for a very long time without necessarily ever having explicit permission from its creators. For example, my 7-year-old absolutely adores watching the Bill Nye the Science Guy stuff. And as far as I know, the copyright owners of that material haven't put it on. However, a number of people have put various full episodes on, and it might be the kind of thing where the content owners are like, well, we're glad that it's out there and accessible or whatever. However, we're not in a position because of, obligations, et cetera, et cetera. There's a weird standoff about they intentionally don't engage in taking it down, but they don't condone its being out there. And I was wondering where YouTube Kids would end up on the spectrum. And it turns out that I typed in, the first thing I did was type in Bill Nye the Science Guy, and it immediately found 5 different people who had put up, I hate to say it so bluntly, but bootleg episodes of Bill Nye the Science Guy that have not been taken down. And so they made it through. And all of a sudden I was thrilled. I was like, if they cannot run into undue sex, violence, and language to where I'm not going to get in trouble for the exploratory time they spend on my phone, then and meanwhile, wildly violating copyright laws as they do so, don't care. Happy parent right here.
That is not true. They are not wildly violating copyright laws when they do that. What they are is they are possibly jeopardizing their safe harbor, because YouTube, their whole trial with Viacom was about the fact that they don't get involved with copyright law. They're a platform. People upload things. Yeah. You tell us it's a copyright violation, we'll take it down. That's what the DMCA says. Our name's Paul. This is between y'all, right?
Yeah,
and Viacom
exactly.
was like, no, you're getting involved. You're responsible. You know it's there. You should take it down. Viacom and YouTube settled that case out of court. So I think what is interesting here, and I think you're right to point it out, which is, do we know if Bill Nye doesn't want this stuff up or not? Because remember, YouTube does have that system where you can say, yeah, it's okay for them to put my video up there, but any ads that run off of it, I get the money for.
Correct. Well, and plus also, I know that my youngest, my 2-year-old, likes Wildcrats. And so I typed in Wildcrats, and I found some of them that were listed under, they were full episodes listed under the official Wildcrats channel. And I know, several content owners do that. As a matter of fact, good news for all the cord cutters out there, Hacking the System episodes 1 and 2 are on YouTube, the full episode under the Nat Geo channel. But then there were other episodes that were not on that channel, and I don't know how sanctioned they were.
I wonder if YouTube's lawyer's position is, we can only do a YouTube Kids app if the only thing we're doing is making sure that it's kid friendly, and we don't evaluate the copyright. Because if we start evaluating the copyrights, suddenly we are no longer being safe harbor.
Yes.
We are looking at those issues. And if we look at them here, we're going to have to look at them everywhere. So that may be what you're seeing is them going, all we're looking at is it 18 plus or not? You know, or actually it's even younger than that, right? I think it's got to be below 13.
I mean, that certainly would make sense, wouldn't it? Because, I mean, we're 10 years into the YouTube experience, and only now are they bothering to put a very, very obvious feature that I've been calling for 4 years now in there. It would make sense that the delay on all this has been because their hands are tied, because they can't, risk setting off the lawyers.
And what's interesting to me too is the normal reaction that people are going to have, the average person out there who doesn't follow this stuff like we do, is going to be like, well, how do I know it's safe? I've seen YouTube. And they've got some algorithm because I know Google does the algorithms. That algorithm's going to mess up, and then my kid's going to see something I don't want, and that's not good. And I'm curious, how much of this is? I mean, it is curated by people, but how much of it is an algorithm creating things, and how much is actually touched?
And they weren't entirely clear as to what the community is that's curating these. Are these Google employees that are going through saying yes, safe,
no? It's definitely
yes, no?
It's definitely curated by employees.
Okay, well then in that case, weirdly, I'm thrilled as a parent. However, I'm confused as a faux lawyer as to how you have people curating that.
You can have it curated by people for family friendliness, right?
Yes.
You could say the only thing we're looking at is this okay for kids? And then we put it off. That's actually fine. That's actually, you're actually following the Child Online Protection Act in a sense there, right?
Right.
Because if you're going to provide a kid service, you got to do that. But you can I think you nailed it. What they're doing is going, but we are not evaluating copyright issues when we do that. We are only looking, is this appropriate for the entire family? And if it is, it makes it through. And if it's not, it doesn't. And any other copyright questions have to be handled through the normal DMCA copyright system.
I'll tell you this much. There's a few things that I noticed right at the outset. First of all, you turn it on and it goes to landscape mode. And no matter what orientation you put your phone, it stays on landscape mode because it knows that this is the way. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I screw it up? No. This is the way kids watch is horizontally, right? And so they make it's extremely. I don't know. I thought that the design was fantastic. I thought that the deciding about what to do or not do was very well executed. Nothing but positive things to say about the app itself.
But you're right. They don't. I'm just glancing back over the blogs just to be sure. They don't make it clear on these blogs that it's actually people in charge of it. But a story that I read last Thursday when this leaked by USA Today said that it was a combination, like an algorithm would select candidates and then there was a team approving them out of that algorithmically selected amount.
All right. Question. We're going to take a little gamble. I'm going to type in the words Scam School. For those of you guys who don't know, I host a show on the internet called Scam School that's fairly popular with people under 18. Do you think Scam School shows up in the kids app or not?
No, it should not.
It's Mathemagic. Look at that right there. Scam School does show up. And in our defense, there's a number of interesting, sciencey kind of things that we cover from time to time. And as a matter of fact, you can see here from Numberphile, James Grime posted his response video.
At the bars and on the streets, kids.
And in your phone, children. Yeah, that's amazing. It looks like only one or two pop up when I put Scam School in there, but they definitely do. That's interesting.
I mean, it's not dirty. I'm just thinking it wouldn't make it through because it involves being in bars.
Well, because it's adult, right? Yeah. we did an episode called It's Mathemagic, where it's you learn some math-related stuff. It looks like they are only stuff that has specifically been approved is showing up in there.
Like it's educational oriented or
correct.
something.
For example, my TEDx San Antonio talk is in there and a few others as well. Look, regardless, this is nothing but a wonderful and long overdue step in the right direction for YouTube to do. And I have nothing but applause for them.
Before we leave the Signals Intelligence segment, which is our segment about streaming services, I want to update you on Sling TV, Brian. The bloom is coming off the rose a little bit.
Oof.
with Sling TV for me. I'm watching it mostly on the Fire TV, although I just hooked up a Mac Mini to the TV, and that is a much better way to this thing is definitely built for the desktop or mobile. Like it's a little clunky on a Roku or an Amazon Fire TV.
If we're gonna jump in on this, I feel like we should jump down to one of the emails that we got regarding the Sling TV.
Well, why don't we do the opposite? Why don't we I'll just tease ahead that we're gonna have an email about this. Let's make sure we do that email, and I'll respond to that email and then share my current feelings, because I haven't soured on it. In fact, Lamar Wilson and I were texting this weekend just about the awesome parts of it and how awesome they are, and there are some. But at first I was like, this is amazing. Everything is wonderful about it. And, that first blush is fading, and there are a few quirks. So we'll get to that. That's a good point. We'll get to that in the email.
Fair enough. In the meantime, I suppose we should gear up.
I was hoping you would say that.
I did say that. That's the thing I said, Tom.
All right. So this week's gear is the touchscreen remote control from Ray Enterprises that was showed off at Code Media Summit in Laguna, California last week. I am going to tell you what it is. Brian's going to tell you what he thinks of it, and then I'm going to try to convince Brian of something. So here we go.
Sounds good.
It is, in fact, a remote control touchscreen tablet. It's got 4 buttons. So a volume up, volume down, mute, and a sleep or wake button to turn it off and on. The idea is that it's a universal remote, controls things by infrared, can also do Wi-Fi and Zigbee, though, as well. And it uses apps. So for your Roku, you just get the Roku app. And then the Roku app, which does control the Roku on iOS and Android, will control it from your tablet. If your device does not have an app, you can still control it in a more traditional universal remote type of way. But they're trying to create partnerships with cable television companies. They have a deal with Dish already, but they don't have deals with all of them. 4.8-inch touchscreen, switches inputs when your app for the device is tapped. So unlike your phone, when you tap the Roku app, it's going to know, oh, Roku's on HDMI 3. I'm going to switch that to HDMI 3. It even gets to know what shows you like and starts suggesting them. You can search for shows across the apps that you use, and it's $199. So Brian, what do you think of the Ray Super Remote?
I think it is extremely well-intentioned. I think that it is an elegant solution to a problem that we had 10 years ago, but it is not the solution that we have right now. Now, first of all, full disclosure, I have a Logitech Harmony remote. You have a Harmony remote, right, Tom?
I do. I have a Logitech Harmony Ultimate. Yep.
And I've been a Harmony guy for a long time, but the problem with the Harmony is that at some level, you, the user, needs to understand the relationship between all of your devices, right? You need to know that right now you're pretending to be the DVR, and now you're pretending to be the television, and now you're pretending to be the receiver, and so on. What I feel like they're missing is the fact that the real thing people want, that the real thing people are willing to pay $200 for, is for the privilege of not knowing or understanding what's connected to what and what device is pretending to be what at any given time. People want the ability to grab a remote, and I'm not even going to say press a button to go there. I'm going to say like now Amazon Fire TV has set the standard. I want a puck that I can look at and say, give me the Big Bang Theory. I'm 67 years old. And then boom, Big Bang Theory shows up. And then, or a puck that you say, hi, I'm a babysitter. Please show me the CW. And then boom, the CW is totally on. That's what people want. And that's not what's being delivered here. And I don't feel like it's going to help. And it doesn't help that this Recode demonstration did not go super great. Can we see just a few seconds of that, Bryce? Go ahead and throw that on there.
So if we actually swipe, I have movies here, shows.
Oh, it's just demo fail, Brian. That happens to everybody.
Hold on. You got 20 more seconds to fill. Just keep talking about demo fail happening to everyone.
Demo fail always happens. By the way, we haven't paused the video for those of you on audio.
The video's still going. People are
just having to. Come on. Let the.
Wait, hold on. Tom, hold on. I think he's about to.
Let me just say that Windows had this amount of problems sometimes on stage at CES.
So I believe. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
sections of like.
I'm sorry, Tom. Hold on.
Basically, what we do is like we slice and dice television and make the topics.
All right,
All
there
right,
we
so,
go. There we go.
to your point of the puck that you talked to, I don't want that only. I want that option, but I don't want to have to speak. I don't want to always speak.
That's fine.
I don't want to be locked into speaking.
That's fine. But regardless, this looks like a classier, sexier Harmony remote. What about this is different than the Harmony remote?
Okay, because a lot of people in the chat room are already saying, well, I could just buy an iPad or I could just buy a phone. This works like a remote. And the reason I love my remote is that it does all of the things. It changes the input. It turns things on and off. And your phone, okay, I can put the Harmony app on my phone, but I have to pull the phone out. I have to unlock the phone. I have to find the app. I have to launch the app. And then the layout's different and everything. It's much easier and much faster for me to grab the remote, right? The other thing is the entire family is there. If I have the app on my phone, I either have to pull my phone out, unlock it, hand it to someone so they can change a channel, or get them to install the app themselves. Something like this is better because you can just share it around. It's already there. All you do is hit the wake button. Boom, it's on. You don't have to worry about anybody getting into your personal business using your phone. But that's all true of the Logitech Harmony remote. So what's the advantage here? I think what they're trying to say is with this, you're going to be able to use the apps that you have on the phone without the negative side of having to use your phone to do it and having to share your phone around. So unlike the Harmony, it won't be limited. You won't have to teach it. You just install the Roku app and it goes, oh, I see a Roku on this network. Obviously, I'm going to control that Roku, which is the way the Roku app works on your phone.
I will say everything you said is a step in the right direction. There's, was it necessary versus sufficient? I think those are necessary steps. I don't think they're sufficient to be a thriving object, especially, I mean, we are like 25 minutes away from, you know, a Jarvis like interface for all this stuff, right?
Yeah. I think these guys want to get there, right? They have a search. I mean, they could add voice search and you'd be happier, but they have a search that says, I just want to watch this, and it'll look at the apps that you have installed. It'll look at the offerings available, and it'll say, you can watch it on this, whether it's Hulu or whether it's Amazon or whatever, right?
Man, I'm already one generation ahead. I'm ready for it to already know what I'm about to say and roll its eyes.
No, that's one of the selling points, right? As he says, we'll even watch your viewing habits and know what stuff you like and surface those suggestions so it's easier to get to the shows that you watch all the time.
Dude, as weird as it sounds, like that's the world I want to live in. I want to walk up and the TV recognize me and be like, hey, Brian, you only watch 4 different things. You want to watch live, we'll say, I don't know, libertarian news? You want to watch some Walking Dead? You want to watch something by, you know, this writer who used to be on The Shield? Or do you want to watch, you know, Game of Thrones? Look, we know you.
I'll tell you hilariously what bothers me most about the Ray Super Remote is that it's all touchscreen. One thing I tested one of the Logitech, I think it was the Harmony E that was all touchscreen. I didn't like it. I'm like, no, I want some. And now, granted, they do have the volume up and down.
Yeah, no. But you want to feel the button.
This is just me being an old man.
No. I'm actually behind you on this one. Like if you're gonna hold a brick in your hand, you're gonna do it for the purpose so that you can keep your eyes on the screen. And if you have to look down to figure out the right placement, then screw you. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, because I have a touchscreen and physical buttons on the Harmony Ultimate. And with some devices, it's glorious. Like the touchscreen is there for the things that it's good for, and then everything else I can just feel with the buttons. On the other hand, with the TiVo, for instance, the advance button is not mapped to the fast forward button. Or to the skip button or whatever. And I can fix that, right? I can go in. I'm just too lazy to go fix that. But it means I have to use the touch screen to advance, and I always have to look down.
This is the big gap, man, is the artificial intelligence. And it's not just remote controls and universal remotes. Like we were talking about this recently where we all take photos right now, but nobody archives them in different categories. Nobody tags them correctly or whatever. There's going to, sometime in the next 3 to 5 years, there will be an artificially intelligent different algorithm, probably built into your Apple or Android phone, that will look for things like composition, quality, importance. It'll recognize faces and recognize that this person is very important to you, that they are clearly well framed in this, that they're in focus, and they will place it in a particular file for you, and they will make sure to triple back it up for you. They will do all those things that like this stuff is like 20 minutes away, and yet we're in a world where they're trying to sell us, you know, a touch screen crappy iPhone knockoff to control the television. That's insane.
I think this is, I mean, it's 20 minutes away, but it's not here. This may be
Correct.
the road, right? This may be the 5 minutes away on the way to the 20 minutes, but I'm not sure this is it. I'm not sure this is it. I think at first I was scoffing like, yeah, but my phone can do that, just like everybody in the chat room. And then I realized, but you know what? I don't use my phone for my Logitech Harmony, even though I have it installed and I could. And Eileen has it installed on her phone and she doesn't use it there. And we have it installed in the tablet. We use the physical remote because when you're sharing a viewing experience like that, maybe if you live alone, you're fine. But even so, when you're sharing a viewing experience, or even if you're alone and you just don't want to unlock your phone, it's a lot easier to just grab the remote. It's already there and it's already ready to do what you want.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Which, by the way, the last firmware update, or the one before last, added a lock screen to the touchscreen on the Logitech Harmony. I'm like, why would I want that? Why would I ever want to make it more difficult?
A criminal breaks in and you're like, ooh, I'm going to change his channel. Oh, a password. What?
Your channels. All right. Help me out, Brian.
Yeah, what's up, man? You got a problem?
I need something new in my life.
Oh, dude. Look, hey, man, you like beer?
I do. I love beer.
Beer is tasty. You ever wish that you could have like double the beer in your fridge, but like unfortunately there's just not the real estate there?
Yeah, actually, quite often I'm like, it's not even just about the real estate. It's just about like, I wish I had double the beer in my fridge.
Yeah, okay, well, there's that. But more importantly, where are you going to put all that beer? You got your fantasy. You're going to have some lukewarm temperature beer? No, there's one place you can go. You can go up. You can attach those beers to the ceiling of your refrigerator using the Bottle Loft. They're super powerful neodymium magnets that are attached to the top of your fridge. You just
That's amazing.
I've got an animated GIF here that will explain to you. Just scroll down. Let's see an animate. Look at this animated GIF.
Wait,
it explains.
He's putting a 6-pack of Shiner Bock below another 6-pack of beer.
Boom. Look at that. You walk up, you just attach a 6-pack. They sit there. They're super powerful. They're up top.
There's still room for my bowl of kale salad below my beer.
It's Austin as hell. If you ever wanted to feel like you're in Tom Merritt's and Brian Brushwood's apartment, if the two of them ever lived together, which, by the way, we really should do someday, then you need the Bottle Loft. It's up at scamstuff.com. Scamstuff.com/Bottle Loft. Is that right? /products/Bottle Loft. Just look for, just type in Scam Stuff and poke around. You'll see it there. It's really pretty freaking dope. I'm not going to lie.
Time to march forward into the front lines. Shall we?
Front lines!
Hey, speaking of something you want, Brian Brushwood, Hulu has a couple of notes to tell you about. There's a new feature called Watch List on Hulu that replaces the queue, the favorites, and the shows you watch sections all into one. So now, instead of having to favorite or add to clue and make a decision, you just click a plus button on a show or add to watch list if you're on a game show or on a game console, and it gets added to the watch list. Then, here's the killer feature, shows are ordered based on your viewing behavior. So if you have shows that you haven't watched and they're shows that you always watch, they'll be at the top. Also, Hulu got exclusive streaming rights to all 15 seasons of the original CSI Crime Scene Investigation, if you're into that.
Speculation time. Do you think, like, let's say you don't ever use the plus feature, do you think it just go ahead and it populates it with predictions?
No,
by the way,
it doesn't. That's the one thing it doesn't do yet.
Really?
I would like it to do that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would imagine it would do all this stuff. All right, well, in that case, then I won't take an extension, and instead I will talk about how for 2014, DirecTV ended with 20.35 million subscribers, up 5% from 2013. That's an addition of 99,000 subscribers, which is smaller than the 169,000 the company added in 2013. However, Q4 saw an increase of 145,000 subs, up from 93,000 subs in Q4 2013, just in time to take advantage away from the Sling TV. DirecTV announced its customers now have easy access to Disney streaming apps, including Watch ESPN, Watch Disney, and Watch ABC.
Yeah, man. As a DirecTV subscriber, I was looking at Sling TV going, hey, now I can get into all the ABC and Disney apps. Maybe not watch ABC, but watch Disney and watch ESPN. What I need y'all for.
Yeah. You know what? I will take an extension on this. I don't know that it'll be a full minute. But it seems like we're just seeing the echoes in the satellite market of what happened to cable 2 or 3 years ago. Is that right? Like where they are, everything's slowing down, not quite reversing. But
satellite had been growing faster than cable because it was a nationwide alternative and often a cheaper alternative. And I think you're right as far as the subscriber growth goes, that we're now getting the echoes of what we were seeing in cable, which is slower growth. It'll be interesting to see if it continues to follow that trend and becomes negative growth. And then the satellite companies go, hey, it's just a bad economy from 4 years ago.
Right. So where's your head at? You feel like this is indicative of a cord-killing movement, or do you feel
Actually, I think this is an effect of a cord-killing movement. I think DirecTV was playing hardball with Watch ESPN for years, and then all of a sudden Sling TV came along, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back. It may or may not be the decisive factor, but DirecTV was like, fine, we need a deal with you. We need to be able to add this, because they're all realizing we have to make it easy for you to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, if we want to keep getting your money.
Sounds legit.
In fact, Comcast announced it has doubled the number of channels available on its Xfinity Go app since it launched last year. It now has 70 live channels. Some of those channels allow for on-demand viewing of shows and even downloading for offline viewing. This made me think like, gee, I wonder if I could order Comcast cable without living in their area and just like use their app to watch channels. It'd be like my own little Sling TV, but I'd have 70 channels. It'd also be more expensive.
As a matter of fact, I know somebody wrote us saying that they were able to do exactly that. They had a login for Xfinity through a friend. They were on a different network. And again, I'm probably getting the details screwed up, but he was able to log in and watch HBO Go and watch the Xfinity stuff, even though he wasn't a Comcast subscriber, using that login through the Xbox. And then he called and he's like, hey, is this a thing? Do I need to be paying for my full thing if I can use this? And we'll do an extension. The guy's like, I don't know, let me check on that for you. And then like 20 minutes later, it totally stopped working. So I wonder if that's...
Well, I'm wondering the opposite thing, which is like, I want to pay you even though I don't live in your service area.
Well, that was the thing, is this guy actually tried to subscribe, but because he didn't live in the service area, they couldn't figure out how to run it through the system. They're like, we don't know how to enlist you because you don't live in this area.
They need to start doing that.
Yeah.
Not that I want to give Comcast more subscribers necessarily, but...
Dude, I'll give subscribers to whoever allows us to watch
exactly. Whatever fulfills my needs at my price.
Yep. Hey, man, all right, we'll jump ahead here. A study from Media Technology Monitor found that 29% of respondents admitted to being a U.S. IP address, admitted to using an U.S. IP address to access Netflix. Wow. 40% said they were spoofing their IP address to access other non-Netflix U.S. media content online. So many things I want to say that I won't say. Is this bad, Tom? Are they illegally accessing Netflix content?
They're violating terms of service, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can go down that rat hole again if you really want to. But honestly, there's no answer to it. What is interesting is 29% of people were willing to tell a survey, oh yeah, I totally do that. Like, this is widespread behavior, and this is something that is going to push. We see this over and over. This is what interests me about this. Consumers in large enough numbers doing something eventually make that something legitimate.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what got rid of DRM on music. And I can't imagine that this isn't going to push Netflix even faster to get to a point where the offerings are pretty much equivalent across all of their brands.
Dude, do you know what else I got rid of? The Berlin Wall. Bunch of people showed up, and they're all like, let them through, I guess. I don't know. And then it was boom. Communism was over.
I think it's 100% equivalent to compare Netflix VPN service in Canada to the fall of communism in Eastern Europe.
I agree. Shall we move on to what's under surveillance?
Yeah, sure.
Turns out East Germany is under surveillance.
Get rid of that Brandenburg-gated content and get a VPN. All right. These are things you can watch. Kill Me 3 Times stars Simon Pegg. The name of the movie is Kill Me 3 Times. It stars Simon Pegg. He's a hitman. And guess what? Allison Sheridan pointed this out to me on email. It's coming to iTunes March 26th. It's coming to theaters April 10th.
Tom,
Right.
I'm sorry. It sounds like you got mixed up. It sounded that had to be reversed, right? There's no way it comes to iTunes
Brian. Yeah,
first.
I must have said the dates wrong. Let me say this again. I'm going to read it straight off of the freeze-framed image from the trailer to make sure I get it right.
Sure.
Comes to iTunes March 26th, theaters April 10th.
All right. See, I feel like you did it again. I feel like you got the orders a little cattywampus.
Maybe you don't remember the months in the right order, but I'm just saying it's iTunes March 26th, the theaters April 10th. Now, obviously, we know it doesn't come to theaters after iTunes, so March must have been moved until after April.
You heard it here first, people. Dude, what did you think of the new House of Cards trailer?
Yes, the new House of Cards trailer released on Sunday shows some trouble between Frank and Claire. Now, some of this we had seen hinted at in earlier teasers, but yeah, Claire is not happy with what Francis is doing.
Well, yes, and I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but it's like that certainly has been a hallmark of their relationship so far, has been this bizarre, unwavering support that the two of them, they have moved as a unit up until, there's, I'm sorry.
The only one who can undermine Francis is Claire.
Correct.
What if this whole thing ends up with Claire as president?
No way. That's crazy talk. They spend all, so you're saying...
I'm not saying this season even, but this whole story.
Well, okay, by the way, do we know whether or not how many seasons they're officially planning to do? Like, at some point I heard some kind of like only 3 seasons and they're out.
We could look that up and find out. I don't remember.
It would make sense considering that it was based on a miniseries that had 3 episodes. But I'll tell you what, though, I love this idea that we can watch some kind of sideshow where it's like for a whole season they bamboozle us with some kind of North Korean conflict and then quietly just turn around like, psych, you're fired, husband.
President Claire.
That's amazing.
I don't know. It's way wild. It's probably not going to happen, but it's just struck me just now. Also, headline breaking news: Netflix acquired a movie that's not a documentary.
What?
J.Ville, Jadotville, is a recreation of the UN battalion's fight against Congolese forces. It stars 50 Shades Jamie Dornan and is directed by music video stalwart Richie Smythe and should come to Netflix, not theaters, in 2016.
I'll tell you what, man, you see the words music video stalwart, just remember Spike Jonze was a music video stalwart in the late 90s, man, or mid 90s. He was king of the Beastie Boys videos, and then suddenly he was the guy that brought us Being John Malkovich and Her.
Well, and 50 Shades Jamie Dornan, just think of as Jamie Dornan. If you don't like 50 Shades, if you love 50 Shades, that's going to be an encouragement for you. If you don't, though, like Jamie Dornan, I just saw an interview with him. Seems like a very versatile actor.
Look, here's the thing, man. If you're good at playing video games, it doesn't matter if it's a video game of the persuasion that everybody likes or a video game that's a persuasion that only a few people like. It's a badge. This person's highest badge is that they have, I don't know, one of the most popular movies of the entire year to date that they happen to work on. It's like you label that. That doesn't mean that's who they are. Is that only that one game? They're a great video game player. They have a badge. They earned it.
Tensor guy is confused. He says, wait, Condoleezza has forces? No, I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Congolese, not Condoleezza Rice.
Forces, of course.
Totally different. What you been watching, Brian?
Dude, we of course watch Better Call Saul, which again, it just breaks my heart that Better Call Saul is on Monday nights because it means every time we talk about it, it's going to be late. However, I am
by the
going.
time a lot of you get to this show, the next episode will have already been out.
Yes, but that's fine. Just enjoy a trip down memory lane with the rest of us. I am going to get caught up with Archer so that you and I could talk about those. I of course watched Hacking the System on the fantastic National Geographic Network. I hear the host is a real father of three. I will say two things. First of all, people have been bugging me about Hacking the System being available for cord cutters. You got no excuses. It's on YouTube now. It's on Hulu now. It's on Google Play, iTunes, Vudu, pretty much anywhere. Just go to your favorite service, type in Hacking the System, take a look. On YouTube, I know for sure that on the official Nat Geo channel, you can see 2 episodes, 100% free, full episodes. However, somebody, we'll see how long those last, but somebody's posting bootlegs as well, so I'm sure you can find those as well. I don't want to necessarily encourage you one way or the other to see them, but I will state factually that they are there. And I had an experience, Tom, that I've not had for 30 years. I sat down with one of my BFFs and just watched pro wrestling. I've not done that for 30 years, Tom.
What were you watching it on? Was it pay-per-view or the channel?
It was the WWE digital subscription channel. We sat down, me and Justin Robert Young. He wanted to do a live stream, and he thought it would be fun to have somebody who had been out of pro wrestling for a while to be there. So we sat down, cracked open a few beers, and watched pro wrestling last night, and it was utterly delightful. It was amazing. I can't speak enough about how much I enjoyed it. The only complaint everyone had was that because my internet connection was so good, we were watching it ahead of everyone else. Everyone else was buffered behind us.
It wasn't getting cached and buffered, so you're like spoiling everything.
Which on the great list of problems to have is probably like the best problem we could possibly have.
Very much like you, I watched Better Call Saul, Walking Dead, Hacking the System, all 3 top-tier shows of equal quality. I've also been watching The Flash and Arrow, Agent Carter. I went down a rat hole after watching the 40th anniversary of Saturday Night Live, watched a bunch of old Saturday Night Lives, and watched a few of the current season.
Yep.
And Brian, big news. This made me pay for Hulu.
Wait, wait, you're not even going to drop a hint on this kind of thing? You're just going to drop this bomb right on the show?
I sat down, I wanted to watch.
Professor, I hate Hulu Brushwood?
For the first time, my whole position on Hulu Plus has been when I get to a point where I feel like, oh, okay, I need to pay for that. I understand why. I will do that. Finally, it happened. I could not watch old Saturday Night Lives on Hulu without paying for the subscription.
No,
right?
I thought the whole thing was that like Yahoo had the exclusive deal for
clips only, not full episodes. So Hulu has full episodes, not of every season, but of all the early seasons and of all the most recent seasons. And you can watch some of the most recent stuff without a subscription. And my problem was always like, I can watch it on my laptop, but not on the Roku. That's stupid. Why would I pay for that? But this was like, no, this is premium content. If you really want to go down memory lane, you should be a subscriber and watch it that way. And I'm like, you know what? This meets my criteria. I really want to watch this stuff. This is the place that has it. So I did it.
That's fantastic.
We'll see if I keep going after this month. I may put it on pause
I feel like you getting Hulu Plus is like me getting cable again. Like I feel like we're both exploring territory that we're not.
We'll see if I
necessarily
keep it
comfortable
though,
in.
right? I found this one time where it's like, okay, it's worth paying for this month.
Sure.
Yeah. I also watched The Shield, obviously, and watched the Academy Awards last night. Really glad I was watching it over the air broadcast, because apparently if you watched it on streaming, which you didn't have to have a cable subscription, the streaming folks got interrupted with the Social Network movie suddenly streaming on that channel.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The movie about Facebook by David Fincher just started playing?
Yeah. And then it switched to an episode of a television show, like shortly after that.
Dude,
it was
better than some people during the Super Bowl 2 years ago when random porn started playing.
Yeah, right. Same kind of thing, though. Finally, on our radar coming out this week is The Lazarus Effect. It's sort of an AI, bringing things back from the dead. Are they really the same type of person? Combo thing. So if you're into that, it's coming to movie theaters.
We will be talking about The Walking Dead in Spoiler in Time. I will, real quick, spoiler alert for Spoiler in Time. You're going to hear me gripe a lot about my experience of trying to track down a legal way to watch The Walking Dead this morning.
Okie dokie. Stay tuned for that, which can be subscribed to in the current combo feed or in a new Spoiler in Time only feed.
Oh, we should talk about that.
Yeah.
Dispatches from the front. It was smooth, Bryce. Well done, sir. You covered quickly.
Hey! Okay, let's get to that Sling TV email. Which one is it?
I don't know.
I started to say hey for something. Thanks for splitting up the show into 2 feeds. I picked the Cordkillers only audio feed as you guys spoil shows I haven't seen yet. Thanks for doing that, Tim Dillenberger, Minneapolis, Minnesota. You betcha, yeah. Tim. If you don't know what Tim's talking about, I just mentioned it, which is we now have separate feeds for the Cordkillers show, both audio and video, feed for each, and for the It's Spoiler in Time show, separate feeds for audio, separate feed for video, as well as the continuous combo feed for video and audio that most people are subscribed to. We just left everyone subscribed to the combo feed. But if you're like, I only subscribed to the combo feed because it was the only way to get either one of the shows, you can now choose to go to one of the individual feeds. Just go to cordkillers.com and click on the subscribe link.
Heck yes. We have an email from Curtis from Maryland who says, as a Cordkillers fan from day 0, aka frame rate days, I always find it interesting that Brian sometimes feels guilty for having cable, even for the duration of his Hacking the System show. I have no intention of getting rid of my cable at this time or in the near future, in fact. By the way, just to clarify, I only feel guilty insofar as people will call us a hypocrite, and I proclaimed that I was going to dive into the experiment of actually cutting the cord, and I'm, pulling back from that experiment for the duration of the show. But at any rate, that's neither here nor there. I've just upgraded my Fios bundle with a 2-year contract. I've gotten used to the combination of having so many channels at my fingertips to adapt to my variable viewing tastes throughout the year and the time-shifting convenience of the DVR service. Then there's not having to worry about what service has the show that I want. There's no shame in paying for what you want, albeit on only some of the devices that you want. No Amazon Fire TV Fios app just yet. Here are the details of my service, because remember, Tom, we asked for everyone to, tell us what you guys are doing right now. I have Fios TV Quantum Service, which has a new cable box with 1 terabyte of storage and records 6 shows at once. Blah, 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 blah. The bundle includes 75/75 up-down internet service, which almost always gives me total bandwidth whenever I need it. I can even downgrade back to the 50/50 if needed to save another $5 a month. My bill comes out to about $158 after taxes and government fees, which is about as much as I was paying before the upgrade, and that price is guaranteed minus the free programming expiring for the next 3 years. I just clicked the wrong thing. There we go. 3 years, even after my contract expires. Hope that wasn't too long-winded, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much, Curtis. We don't blame you. That sounds like a perfectly legitimate deal.
I don't know. Ken McDowell might think it sounds too expensive. He wrote in and said, sounds to me like you guys spend a ton of dough on TV and entertainment. This is my setup. I'm using a knockoff Leaf antenna I got on Amazon for $39. That gets me all the broadcast networks. I have Time Warner Cable Internet access, 50 megabits per second down, that I get for $30 a month plus tax. I recently got them to get me another 12-month promotional rate, by the way, by calling in. Told them some stuff. Anyways, then I pay $7.99 a month for Hulu. I basically use Hulu as my catch-up service instead of paying the cable company $10 to record a bunch of stuff, so no DVR. I can watch whatever I want and don't have to worry about setting up recording. I watch The Walking Dead for $2 an episode on Vudu, though that expense is going to be getting wrapped into one of my new favorite services. Finally, I now pay $20 a month for Sling TV, and every few months I subscribe to Netflix when House of Cards comes back, and now Marco Polo. So anyway, all in all, I spend about $60 a month to watch exactly what I want to watch when I want to watch it. Feels like I'm doing pretty good after hearing you guys are spending hundreds of bucks a month. One of your 2,000 bosses can.
Well, Tom, be that as it may, those are 2 perspectives from the United States. We should go international. Oh, wait, here's an anonymous email that says, first of all, thank you for making Cordkillers only feeds. Secondly, we don't pay anything for TV. Hear that, Americans? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. It says, we don't pay anything for TV, ... apart from the mandatory £12, 12 shillings per month, about $20 for the TV license as I watch live TV. For internet phone calls, our bills come to about £30. That's $46 per month. But I did a little chicken challenge a couple of times with Virgin Media and have managed to get a £10 discount and a secondary £5 discount. So we're actually only paying about £15 per month, $23 approximately. For the moment, up to 50 megabits down and a standard landline with free weekend calls. Wow, weekend calls. Windowed calling. That was a thing.
Yeah. Remember those days.
So in total we pay around $41.65 per month American dollars for decent quality internet and the chance to watch live TV. Well, congratulations, man. That sounds rad.
That's all. That just barely beats Jeff, who says he lives in Northwest Indiana, 20 miles from Chicago, pays $30 a month for 25 megabits per second down, 5 up from Comcast, has an over-the-air antenna with a Channel Master Plus DVR, also has Amazon Prime and Netflix. If there's a cable show that I want, I get a season pass on Amazon, basically less than $50 a month for TV and internet.
Dude, that's huge. Sounds right to me.
All right, did you say there was a Sling TV email down here?
There was. I must have accidentally deleted it. I don't know what happened. There was somebody taking.
What was the gist of it?
Sling. It was something. Oh, you know what it was? It was somebody wrote us. It was very peculiar, Tom. I didn't know how to react to it. Somebody gave us a horror story about they're trying to cancel Sling. And they got forwarded to another. They had a difficult time canceling the service, and they got trapped in a phone hole. And and then they ended up getting charged, even though they said they didn't want the service and they felt like it was fraudulent.
They did the 7-day trial and couldn't cancel it.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me. It was rough.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that that's excusable, but in a new service like this, which has obviously, from my experience setting it up, has a brand new customer service department, you're going to run into glitches like that. So that is something to keep in mind if you're considering Sling TV. Is its customer support isn't all the way there. They don't have years of experience doing
I mean,
this
it's
stuff.
like being somebody starting a new business with the whole scam stuff thing. I understand the difficulties. That doesn't excuse it, but I do understand that that's something you can expect.
Honestly, like just the fact that you can't alter your programming for this internet-only service on the internet is an issue for me. I've definitely run into problems where there was a deal where they're like, hey, you can get a free month of Sling TV service, you can get a free Chromecast with your existing Sling TV service. Like, they sent me an email like, hey, existing Sling TV subscriber, we'll give you a free Chromecast or Fire Stick. I'm like, great. And then I clicked on it and it just took me to my account settings page. And I'm like, but that's not where. So I tried typing in the URL. No, it just took me to my account settings page.
That's rough.
So either existing subscribers don't get it, you have to be a new subscriber, or something was just glitching. And that just goes into what I was talking about, which is when I watch it on the Fire TV stick, it is okay. There's a lot of buffering. The HD quality is variable per channel. It didn't bother me at first because I was like, I get this channel at all on this internet service. It's amazing. But yeah, it starts to be obvious that some HD channels are coming in perfectly clear and they look great. Some are definitely coming in compressed, internet-friendly versions. And yeah, you just can't quite click through things as smoothly as you would want to yet. Sometimes your channel chiclets buffer a little bit. So you go past, say, the cooking channel, and then the cooking channel shows up 3 chiclets to the right, and you're like, I know that's El Rey. And then you just click over 3 times, and then it refreshes and becomes El Rey. And just, that interface works really well with a mouse, where I can like scroll through. I love it when I'm using my desktop or when I'm using the Mac Mini. Same interface for the Roku. It's like you need a Roku / Fire TV centric interface. You need to put that in there.
Dude, absolutely. Man, I wonder when people create new systems and services, what interface do you think they have in mind? Because that's the weird part, is as set-top boxes evolve, it's like you don't even know how everyone's going to touch, X, Y, or Z moving forward.
Well, I'm pretty sure that what happened here was during the project meeting when they were prioritizing interface design one of the UX leaders said, "What's our priority?" And some executives said, "Well, our priority is the desktop. Like, we're really pushing this to mobile and desktop." And they're like, "Great, we will design this for mobile and desktop." And it shows, because actually when I get a good enough internet connection, like when I'm at home on my Wi-Fi, the mobile interface is actually really good. I just don't want to use the mobile interface in my own house.
Right.
So, I don't have as many cases to use it, but they definitely prioritize devices over the big screen.
Yeah. Hey, man, if you guys want to send in your thoughts, hit us up at cordkillers@gmail.com. We do our best to respond to everybody and get them live on the air, or read them live on the air. I don't know. We read your emails. Send it to cordkillers@gmail.com. And, of course, cordkillers.com is where you can see the show. When are we live, Tom?
Well, it would be 4 p.m. if you're on the Pacific coast. It would be 7 p.m. on the Eastern coast, 6 p.m. in the Central time zone, where you are, and 5 p.m. in the only time zone that matters, the Mountain Zone.
Wow, that definitely went sideways. That's not where I thought we were headed with that. Yeah, no. In related news, we're moving to the mountains. Tom and I are going to live in
Scott
a
Johnson tells me
cabin
it's the
together.
only time zone that matters, so that's
It's the only one that matters.
yeah. If it matters, it's the only one that matters. It's Scott, dude. He lives there.
Dude,
Cordkillers.com is the place to go for all of this information and more. We will see you soon.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.